All right, guys, got some colossal breaking news to cover. Week 4 reaction for college football. A lot of things to cover, a lot of games. So much still going on. I get it. Michigan State, USC is still going on. We'll, I guess, have that in the background. Let me check here. This is all kind of raw, sort of a raw reaction here. It's not a traditional show, but we're, kind of is what it is. But figured we'll do that. Actually, let me charge my computer. Got to do this before we start hit recording, but that's okay. This is not the actual show. So this is just a reaction to everything that's been happening. Again, it's at right now, as of I'm live, it's 11:30. Sound machine's going on. People are trying to sleep and whatnot, so I'm not trying to be too loud. But so if you hear that in the background, apologies for that. Actually could turn down just a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's good for you guys. But, yeah, I got some colossal breaking news. A lot of games to cover, a lot of coaches. Unfortunately, going to get fired tomorrow, I think. I guess we'll discuss them as we sort of go along. But I guess we'll just kind of go in reverse. All the way from today, as the games are currently going on. We're about to wrap up. Then we'll just kind of go backwards. So we're doing the top 25 for the most part. All the big games we've discussed. So there's that. First off, Vanderbilt going to beat Georgia State. Cool. You didn't do it last year. Did it this year. Golf clap for general manager Barton, all of them. Clark Lee, all of them. Good to be 4-0, and you're going to be 5-0 going to Bama. Like I said on the show Thursday, I believe, would have never thought in my lifetime we would have Vanderbilt and Bama potentially being a major game. And the SEC, let alone that game being on ABC probably. So how about that? It's currently 70-21. No big deal. Good. I believe that's what, like the most points Vanderbilt has ever scored before. So that's pretty cool. Again, Michigan State, USC, that's going on right now. I believe Michigan State just scored 7-3 as we're live right now. Aiden Childs, no turnovers yet, touchdown. So how about that? That's pretty good for them. Again, told you guys I was concerned about that game, and here we are live, and we're concerned about it. So that game will be going on. I will keep tabs on it throughout the night, and I guess we'll talk about it on Tuesday. We'll see. Let's see. You're going through the list here. A lot of things to talk about. Let's see. Your LSU and their FCS team, no big deal. Yeah. So this game just wrapped up. Florida, Miami. Low-scoring game. Definitely felt like, the typical Mario special of, start the game very early, aggressively. Then you get sort of slowly conservative. Not the biggest fan of that. I know a lot of Oregon fans would, relate to that. Miami fans obviously would relate to that. The typical Mario Cristobal script. It didn't cost them this week. It may cost them when they go to Tallahassee. And they're off next week. Then they go to Tallahassee and have a bye. Sort of like sandwiched in between both of those. In between the Florida State game, which is really weird. So, that Carson Beck, didn't look that good. But, you're going against that Florida team that you basically allowed to stay in the game as long as they could. And that's kind of on you. I'm not trying to criticize Mario. I'm just saying that is on you and your conservative mindset of just, let's, do, a running back draw, 7 straight times. That's not going to work. And when you're going to face a team like Florida State with Gus Malzahn as the coordinator, that ain't going to fly, bro. And that's and look, I'm not taking away from Miami. They're undefeated, 4-0 at home. But, it's not been very clean. I'll just say that. It's not been very clean. Defense is good. Defense is very good. But offense, this is something we've been talking about for, it seems like even before we did the show, over the past 6 or 7 years, even going back to last decade, it's been a lot of the criticisms of Mario Cristobal has been you're way too conservative, you're way too lax in the play calling, you don't have that killer mentality for the most part. Defense is good now. You've got rid of the whole defensive issues, and now the offense is still kind of what it is. So I get it. It's winning mentality. I get the whole thing, it's, you're not a fan of big boy football. Well, big boy football can work, but there's a difference between having big boy football and conservatism in football. That's the difference. And Mario definitely leads into the conservatism, you know, just dragging the game out. Offense is very, relaxed, and it just at some point it's going to cost you. Is it against Florida State? Is it down the road? I don't know. More. Oregon beat Oregon State, not as much as I thought it was going to be, but or let me rephrase that. Not as much as the folks in Vegas thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a fairly close game. That ended up being kind of true for a little bit, but Oregon ended up pulling away. It was a look ahead spot. They took care of business. Dante Moore threw for like 300 yards. I didn't watch a lot of this game, to be honest with you, but okay, fair's fair. Florida State, didn't watch a whole lot of this. I know Castellanos, threw a pick, but, look, you put up 66 points and you took care of Kent by covering, I believe. No, I don't know for sure. Now, I know Castellanos got hurt because there was like weather delay because we're in Florida here, high top Jacksonville, Florida, at 11:36 at night. But there was some weather west of here in Jacksonville along the I-10 corridor, and so there was that. So that didn't help the game that much, but didn't impact it. Didn't impact the result, but impacted the game. But I do know from what I can tell that he got hurt during the game, and I'm pretty sure most of you, including me, were like, oh no, this is Jordan Travis all over again, and the memories were coming back. I think he's going to be okay. They have Virginia coming up on a Friday. That game still concerns me more on the Thursday show. That does still concern me because of what's coming up the week after, right? So you look good. Yes, Jordan. Yes, Castellanos. It seems to be he avoided a Jordan Travis style injury, but we'll see. But I will just say I don't think he's playing Thursday night, and that's concerning. We'll see. More. Texas took care of Sam Houston. No surprise. I know a lot of folks are gonna say after this game is, oh man, Arch is he's ready to go. He's back. No, he's not ready to go. He's not back yet. You beat Sam Houston. Sam Houston's terrible. I know they have a new coaching staff and whatnot. They're dreadful. They're literally still an FCS team. So whatever. That's a whatever result. More. Illinois being destroyed by Indiana. Who called it? We did on this show. How about that? 3-3 on the games that we were being called, crazy and stupid for picking Illinois to get, to lose to Indiana, and everyone during week 2 was like, oh man, Indiana 6.5 point favorite. Ugh, that's wrong. That's stupid. The folks in Vegas don't know what we're talking about. Okay. All right. Fine. Cool. Keep on disrespecting the folks in Vegas, like in BetMGM and FanDuel, all of them. Yeah, just keep on doing that. So kudos to Coach Sig and Mendoza looked great. Illinois, this game was an example of the train derailment theory. We talked about this on the Tuesday show on Thursday. Little things added up for Illinois, just added up, and it was a total just disaster. Indiana, I think a lot of folks assumed, and we talked about this during the preview on Thursday. Look, everyone assumed that just because you faced Indiana State and all these G5 schools that they're not battle tested. And look, Illinois was tested, unlike them. But the problem is, and this is something that going back to the Duke game, in particular, the final score of that Duke game was not representative of what that game was. That was 5 turnovers. That was a turnover-heavy game. That was not indicative of what Illinois is as a team, and that showed tonight. They got exposed properly, and they have Ohio State in a few weeks. It's going to be interesting to see how they're, if the season spirals out of control, they can, use this momentum or not use this momentum. They lost, or just use this loss and package it as saying, hey, look, we're not as bad as this final score indicates. Not to mention, too, this was Indiana's Super Bowl, and we emphasized that on the show Thursday. So once again, this game and a couple others that we were right about. So how about that? More. Auburn, Oklahoma. I will say, before we talk about the actual game itself, the officials in this game were really weird. I know the SEC League office, they've put out something within the last 15 minutes about that the touchdown that they scored, Oklahoma did the first touchdown where the guy went out of bounds and he came back in, or he was going to the sideline and then he basically pranked the Auburn defense into thinking that, and he scored a touchdown. Apparently that should have been a penalty for just in the sportsmanlike conduct penalty. I know a lot of folks were saying he should have been kicked off the game. I don't know about that, but the penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct, sure, that probably should have been put in. They missed it. They put out the statement. They apologized for it. I do expect, though, just in general, in general for the game, there's a lot more penalties that were really odd, just like that one. I know that one was the big one. I know the fumble return for a touchdown for Auburn that ultimately, I guess, cost them a score in this game. That's also probably going to be submitted to the league office. I'm fully expecting that crew who did the game in Norman will probably be suspended. That's my thinking, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who's thinking that too. So I'm expecting that will be that crew will not be calling a game next weekend, so they'll probably be suspended. But the game itself went as bad as I thought it would be, or went the way I thought it was going to. Oklahoma defensively, like I said on Twitter, Brent Venables is a really good defensive coordinator. He showed it today. I mean, that entire defense really brought it. Auburn couldn't run the football. OU, though, I will say, in a win, much like the Michigan game, while there's a ton of pauses on your defense, and look, you face a much better team today than Michigan, at least offensively in terms of receivers, even though Jackson Arnold missed a whole bunch of guys multiple times. While there's a lot of positives you take away from that win, John Mateer being the offense and him using his legs and him being that's like how your offense is going to go. I don't know if that's really sustainable, and I'm still concerned about that. I'm not totally concerned about it. It's just something I'm observing that can't be something you keep on rolling out there once you face Bama down the road or Tennessee eventually and Texas eventually. So that is concerning. But hey, look, you won. You looked good defensively for Auburn. Like I said on Twitter, and I'll pull it up. I'll just say this for verbatim what I said. I'm just going to pull it up here so I can better, I don't know, I guess defend myself. Because I mentioned, two things. For one, look, Auburn's schedule is going to get tough. Well, it's already tough before the year started, right? We were doing the record projections and all of that. But look, it doesn't get any easier. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, you have Texas A&M next week. You're going to be dogging that game. Then you get rewarded afterwards with in between that bye week, I believe. You get UJ at home. And after that initial tweet, I put, look, I'm not saying Auburn sucks or they should have gotten blown out. I didn't predict that. I didn't say that. Anyone saying that's putting words in my mouth. I never said that Auburn was going to get destroyed. I never said they sucked. All I'm saying is that their schedule is still their schedule. And name me any games where Auburn's going to be favored going forward. Not many. Georgia, no. Texas A&M, no. Missouri, we'll see. Vanderbilt, probably no. Bama, no. So there's about 4 more games left in this schedule where Auburn's probably going to lose or at least not be favored in. And look, I'm not saying that because I'm enjoying that. I'm saying that because I know the reality of their schedule and I know what's probably going to come of them. And again, they play Texas A&M next week. They'll preview that game on Tuesday. So, again, Jackson Arnold, he missed a couple of guys who were wide open. I know Coleman later in the game was wide open, and I said on Twitter, look, that's the difference between college and pro, right? If that was Baker Mayfield or Patrick Mahomes or Lamar, look, that's probably a touchdown, but it is what it is. You can't go back in time and change that. There's no, Doctor Strange, Time Stone, do some weird magic stuff and reverse time and, change the result. So, more. Tulane, Ole Miss. I thought this was going to be way more competitive. It was not. Chambliss or Calabasas, whatever his name is, the backup quarterback, who they got from Division III last year. He looked pretty good against the John Sumrall team, and of course, his name Sumrall has been thrown around for a lot of future head coaching positions. We'll get to more of that here in a little bit towards the end. In general, he's been thrown around for a lot of different jobs, particularly in the southeastern region. My opinion of John Sumrall hasn't changed. Whatever. Ole Miss took care of business, and look, it was pretty impressive, all things considered. So, they look pretty good. Tennessee looked good. This one, Texas Tech, Utah. Again, another example of train derailment theory. Again, another one we got we got this one wrong, but we kind of felt like there was both of these teams going to get exposed somehow, some way, and I think Utah got exposed. I think that offense, while it relies on physicality. It relies on good offensive line, and obviously Dampier and Beck, the offensive coordinator. They're not. I think the difference in this game was what we thought it was going to be the battle between the O line for Utah and the D line for Texas Tech, and the Texas Tech's their D line went out, and that was a bit shocking to me. I thought Utah was the more physical team. They're at home, but Texas Tech, at least defensively, is legit. They may actually be the best defense in the Big 12, and that's saying a lot, all things considered. Offensively, though, you have Morton go down late, go down in the middle of the game. Shocker, the guy's made out of glass. He's always hurt, and he's hurt again. Luckily for them, though, him and the backup quarterback, and he's wearing Mahomes' number 15. Looked okay. That's good, but, I mean, that's concerning going forward because Morton was looking fairly decent. I mean, it was sort of competent, unlike last year, at times last year, but kudos for Texas Tech. That's a huge confidence booster, and they have long ways to go. Obviously, the long season ahead for them, but they look good defensively, at least from a physicality standpoint. Chef's kiss. More. Temple, Georgia Tech. Folks were thinking this would be a letdown spot. Not really. I think Georgia Tech kind of understood the assignment here. Temple, they have some good players apparently, but it's a G5 team. More. This one, everyone thought we got this one wrong, but we didn't. Michigan, Nebraska. Michigan, 30-27. I told you guys, I kept on telling you guys, Nebraska defensively. Again, the battle here in this game. Michigan's D-line versus Michigan's O-line versus Nebraska's D-line. Total mismatch. We did not like Nebraska defensively going into the season. I wasn't alone on that. A lot of our folks were sort of echoing my sentiment on that. This was sort of evident of that. Look, Raiola, good stat line, didn't matter. You were not the most physical team on the field. That was Michigan. And, Biff Poggi being the interim coach, how about that? Weird stat, too, floating around with Michigan interim coaches being undefeated since 2023. That's kind of like a quasi Josh Padlock stat. But, Michigan, a more physical team, and they ran the ball effectively. Nebraska, I mean, look, man, it's how many times do you have to do this? Even before our show, we started doing our show. That how many times of Nebraska we thought, oh, okay, they're back. This is the best team since the early 2000s. Well, look, they still have a good year, but look, we were right on this game for sure. We were right on this game, and a lot of folks were not. So that's two so far we've covered. More South Carolina, Missouri. A little bit closer than I thought. Sellers, I mean, he is the entire offense for South Carolina, and that's not good. Hey, one of the receivers stepped up, Jacobs, but too bad you guys lost. Missouri, they might be a legitimate playoff team. Their schedule is very friendly. Their only tough games are like Bama and Auburn, I think, and Texas A&M, but they get two of those at home and one on the road. So Missouri could be very much a 10-2 and 11-1 team in the playoffs. That seems like a legit possibility here. For South Carolina, you're not making it to a bowl game. I know that sucks. I know you guys cheer like hell. Sellers is a good college quarterback, but I'm just look. And even as a fan of Shane Beamer, you guys aren't making it to a bowl game. Like this schedule gets really tough in a hurry. Like Bama's better than you, Oklahoma's better than you. Yes, I know those games are in October, but right now, I mean, look, I could change my mind in between now and then, but right now, just as a raw reaction, you're not making it to a bowl game. I'm sorry, but your schedule is freaking hard. It sucks, but again, as Bud Elliott says, take the checks, take the losses. So, cool. More. Purdue, Notre Dame, not really competitive, although Notre Dame did give up 30 points. I mean, Brown, the quarterback for Purdue, pretty good stat line. Jeremiah Love had 2 touchdowns. I didn't watch a lot of this game. This was also one of those lightning delay games. So, there's that. More here. That's the top 25 games. Let's see here. Check on USC and Michigan State. It's 10-7 now. USC just took the lead, I guess, recently as we were talking, so that's good. Let's see here. Let's go to, I guess we can go by conference, ACC. Yeah, let's see here. Miami, talk about that. Georgia Tech. Oh, yeah, Clemson. Yeah, of course, we were not going to avoid talking about this game. Clemson got Clemson imploded on themselves. I told you guys after the game against Troy and after last week, the old version of Clemson is not coming back. That 2016, 2015 era Clemson, from there up until Trevor's last year, that version of Clemson not coming back. I was validating on that. This team looks lost. Dabo was crying on the sidelines. And look, I know folks are making a big deal about it. I guess we kind of are, but it's just something in terms of the vibes here is just not right. It just doesn't seem right. I don't recognize Clemson anymore. I know there was a stat going around from Nolecast with Bud Elliott and his guys that Dabo Swinney right now, his like the most recent like 4 or 5 years or whatever, like if you compare that to like Bobby Bowden's final years at Florida State, eerily similar, which is crazy. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say that like Dabo Swinney's gonna get fired or anything like that. He's not going to get fired. Like, could he resign? Could he retire? I don't know. We really don't know. I mean, this is certainly, as a Clemson fan in this modern era, this is different. This is obviously different in 2021 when you guys started off really rocky and whatnot. So, I mean, hats off to Syracuse. I know Angeli went out. He's done for the year, it looks like. I mean, look, it's an Achilles thing. Like, he's not coming back. So, I mean, for Clemson, it just is what it is. And they're not relevant anymore. And we won't talk about them for the rest of the year, more than likely, at least to a major capacity. It just is what it is. So, and like I've been saying, the old version of Clemson is not coming back, and I think we've been validated on that more. UCF destroyed North Carolina. No surprise there. UCF, by the way, quiet 3-0 in the Big 12. That really doesn't really mean anything, but they looked pretty good. Nothing else major there. Shocker, Stanford losing again. Yeah. Let's hear more. Let's see your Big 12. I think there's nothing else here to talk about for the Big 12, I don't think. I know TCU won. Good for them. They're 3-0 too as well. Kansas, by the way, quiet 3-1. They destroyed them. West Virginia, Baylor, Arizona State, probably the best game of the weekend that no one's talking about. We'll talk about Oklahoma State here towards the end. Florida of Billy Napier and what's the other one? Luke Fickle, Nebraska. More Big Ten. Anything major here besides the coaching situations there we just talked about? Washington pulled away from Washington State. Looked a little frisky early. Rutgers, Iowa, very weird. I know the final score says they won by 10. That was a very competitive game, and that final score was not indicative of how that game went. I watched a lot of that game yesterday, and that was a very entertaining game. More. As we go to the rest of the SEC, another game we got right, by the way, here in a moment. I guess we talked about it yet. No, yeah, so we have to go and talk about it. Memphis beating Arkansas. Again, another game I was told I was crazy about. They won. And Memphis, 4-0. And they're right now, besides like them and USF, the two best G5 teams in the country. Never thought I would say that. I don't think a lot of folks are looking at Memphis. I think with Seth Hennigan leaving and moving on, I think a lot of folks thought that, Memphis is going to, kind of take a step back. No, they're not. And they're like, surprise, bro, we're still around. And also, too, like I talked about on the Thursday show during the Upset Alert segment, I told you guys this was one of those games of, Ryan Silverfield, the head coach for Memphis, definitely up there for a lot of these jobs that are open or about to come open. This was his game as a sort of, hey, if you're, a prospective fan base or, prospective administration or whatnot, watch this. Watch me. This is sort of my, game, like an actual resume coming to life, and here it is. So, and, that's just what it was, and I got that right. So how about that? 3-3 on the games that we were talking about a lot this week, and there we go. We went undefeated. How about that? While other folks were picking Illinois and Nebraska to win. We were not. We were pretty staunch about those 3 games, and we got those right. I guess as we sort of end this whole thing, of course, I think everyone's talking about Mike Gundy and his future. Kind of agreeing with Bud Elliott on cover 3. We're not going to talk about that a whole lot, but yeah, he's not coming back next year. That team's dreadful. They lost to Tulsa. By the way, too, what is it with Tulsa and Oklahoma State having all these close games? Like back during 2020, that was a weird close game. A couple years ago was also close at home. It's sort of, to me, as someone who watches college football and sort of remembers those previous games, it of course sort of felt like with this Tulsa Oklahoma State rivalry, which it is a rivalry, by the way, if you didn't realize it, but it sort of felt like this was going to happen at some point. It's sort of like, this is sort of like a weird, like slow culmination point, and now here it is. They finally did it. But yeah, Mike Gundy is gone. Oklahoma State, I don't think they care about college football, or at least football, as seriously as I think they should. This is what it is. Then the other two, though, Fickle and Napier. Look, man, I think any three of these could pop up tomorrow, much like what happened last week during the NFL games. I think Fickle, I personally believe, is a goner. The fans were really pissed off during the game today against Maryland, which you guys got destroyed. I mean, he's probably gone. I think tomorrow we will. I think it is guaranteed. I can guarantee you this. One, at the very minimum, one of those three guys I just mentioned, Fickle, Gundy, Napier, I think at the very least one of them is going to get. We're going to get some news during the games tomorrow, early pro games tomorrow. I think that's pretty clear. At least during them or before, we'll get some news on them. Probably early, much like last week with UCLA and Virginia Tech. So I think we'll get some coaching news tomorrow. We'll talk more about that on the Tuesday show. But just letting you guys know ahead of time, I do expect there will be coaching moves tomorrow. And they'll look, Nebraska, or not Nebraska. They're not opening up. Wisconsin, I think, is the one I'm looking at. Florida, probably as well. Oklahoma State, that one. I could definitely see that one being one where that one just kind of plays itself out, and they end up making a change at the end of the year just because it's Mike Gundy and the whole he's a legend and whatnot, which I understand, but at the same time it's the program is really stale. But anyway, yeah, Fickle, Napier, I think one of those two in particular, I would imagine there's going to be news about tomorrow. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. So we'll be back on Tuesday with the show, same time as usual, not this late, obviously. But yeah, week 4 reaction. We got week 5, easy enough to say. Week 5 next week in college football, huge week. Oregon, Penn State, mega game. Auburn, Texas A&M, kind of mega game, right? Semi-mega game. Illinois, and I believe they're playing. Who are they playing? Illinois. They play someone big next week. USC, duh. That one is still to be determined. I know. Like you mentioned, Illinois got destroyed. Shocker, at least somewhat to us. Yeah, we have Illinois, USC, Auburn, Texas A&M, just mentioned, Bama, Georgia. Major games next week. We'll preview all of the games next week on Tuesday, most of them. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is, by the way, a YouTube only stream, so this is not going to Spotify, but do make sure to subscribe over there as well. Be sure to follow us on X, Twitter. Again, this is independent media. Never talked to advertising before. The show is completely free of charge for you guys, so we will never force you guys to sign up for like a Patreon page or something stupid like that. So yeah, this show is completely free of charge and whatnot. So I'm going to go to bed. It's late. Keep an eye on that USC game, I believe. Just to double check here. I guess we'll go back to the main board as we sign off as of about almost 2 minutes until midnight. Still 10-7. I believe how much time is left. Okay, second quarter. Right, good. But we'll keep an eye on that game. This is a developing thing. Of course, everyone's complaining about that game being so late. And, kind of is what it is. But, yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday. So enjoy the games tomorrow. Of course, the Bucs play tomorrow. We'll react to that on Tuesday as well. They play the Jets. The injury-riddled Buccaneers. I guess the Jets have Tyrod Taylor as quarterback as well. So there's that. I think you mentioned that on Thursday. But, yeah, enjoy the NFL games tomorrow. Again, I fully expect coaching news in college to pop off during the games tomorrow as well. So just keep an eye on that while you're doing whatever. You're going to church, watching NFL games or whatnot. Just keep an eye on that tomorrow. I'm sure there'll be other shows will be on tomorrow as you're doing emergency streams and whatnot. We'll have a show on Tuesday reacting to any coaching changes and doing predictions for week 5 and Bucs, Jets reaction. So until then, take care. Enjoy the rest of your, now it's early Sunday morning. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the games today. Take care, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday.